Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Month of the Full Moon, here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a movie from 2006 starring Tommy Chong. That movie is Evil Bong. And in those few little sentences, I have just told you everything I fucking know about Evil Bong. It's called Evil Bong, it came out in 2006, and it stars Tommy Chong. And I'm going to take a stretch here. I'm going to assume that it has to do with a bong that's evil in some way, shape, or form. Sorry, I couldn't be asked to find any trailers for this thing and find out. So yeah, I'm going into this thing rather, blind. I only know a part of the cast. So yeah, your guess is as good as mine if this thing is going to be any good, and I believe it's time for me to see if it is any good. So I'm going to shut the fuck up, I'm going to push play, and I'm going to see if this damn thing is, or correction, I'm going to see if this thing is good enough to make me want to watch the sequel, because, yeah, this came with the sequel. So, yeah, why don't we do that right now? So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Evil Bong. You know, guys, I'm going to say, this opening song's really fucking catchy. I actually kind of like it. This song is something I could actually kind of picture myself, like, jamming out to. It's really fucking cool. So, wait a moment, wait a sec. So you're telling me that this giant fucking bong, when fully loaded with weed, only has enough for 3 stoners to each take a single hit off it? Funny, I guess I don't know much about bongs. I thought maybe you could store a bit more weed in it, or maybe get a bit more out of it when using a bong. Perhaps I could be wrong. Wow. I never really thought I would live to see a movie where someone is killed by a woman's bra. Or rather, the obviously rubber skulls on a woman's bra, and there's a little black puppet of some sort that looks to be jacking off. The fuck's going on here? The ginger dead man makes a cameo in this? I find it kind of funny that I actually know of that character, but I still haven't watched those fucking movies yet. Why the hell is there a ginger dead man cameo in this fucking movie? It just seems a little out of place, guys. I'm kind of speechless, guys. I have no idea if this is supposed to be a sympathetic attempt at being sexy, but it fails. Big time, it fucking fails. Words fucking escape me, guys. What the fuck did I just see? Wow. When I thought of reviewing a movie about a killer haunted bong, I didn't really think I was going to get a scene where a guy gets his dick cut off by the lips on a woman's bra. That one there's a totally new one, guys. So, Evil Bong ends with a trailer for Evil Bong 2. Interesting. I'm going to shut that movie off, because I don't want to be spoiled for anything that's coming up in Evil Bong 2, because, well, yeah, I got it for later this month. Anyway, I'm going to tell you guys right now, straight up, when I went into this, I really thought this thing was going to suck, and I was kind of surprised. The movie isn't great. I mean, the movie isn't bad, but it's not that good either. I'm going to try to explain that. Why don't we start with writing? Because writing is both this film's biggest asset and biggest failing. I'm going to try to explain that as best I can. We have this interesting concept of the movie's villain being an evil, haunted like demonic Bong, which is a pretty cool concept. But then all the characters which surround it are all cliche and nothing else. There isn't a single drop of creativity in terms of how these characters are. We have one guy who is your ultra, nerd, and even one character in the movie directly says he looks like he walked off the set of Revenge of the Nerds. And he totally fucking does. And his entire vocabulary is made up of words that no human being would ever use in regular, casual conversation. Alright? It takes him 4 or 5 attempts to finally tell his friends that one of their roommates is dead. He uses, let's see, passed on, expired, deceased. He uses every single multiple syllable word before just getting to dead. And he does that with everything. It's like he basically sounds as if he swallowed a fucking dictionary, and it doesn't make him sound smart. It makes him sound kind of, uppity and shitty. But again, that's just me. And then everybody else and then all 3 of his roommates are just your typical, like cliche stoners. We have the surfer stoner, the jock stoner, and just your average, like broski stoner. That's kind of it. That is all we have amongst our 4 main characters. We have Tommy Chong playing as Tommy Chong, which obviously was a huge fucking stretch for him. And then we have 2 women who come in, and one of them is basically a sexy nerdy chick, which is kind of a twist because most movies just have a nerdy chick who's kind of plain looking and this, that, yada yada. And her friend is the bitchy is kind of a bitchy like cheer, leader sort of thing. Nobody here has any real character, personality, or depth beyond that. And the Bong itself sounds like your cliche, stereotypical, sassy black woman. I'm not even fucking kidding you. So, really, we have here a fantastic premise, which is surrounded by cliche characters, and yet it still kind of works. I mean, I guess, guys, that this right here is one of those cases where it shows that cliche is not necessarily a bad thing. It usually is, and frankly, having all these cliched characters like carry over into the second film, I'm not sure if it's gonna hold up for a second movie, but I'll find out later. Right now, let's focus on just this one. I'd like to talk about also in terms of writing. There are cameos every single time a person enters the Bong, which takes them into this evil, essentially like a strip club kinda. And each person goes in and they're visited by another full moon personality. I was able to identify Ginger Dead Man and Jack, Death, even though I've never seen either Ginger Dead Man or the hell was Jack Death's Trancers, I think, is his franchise. I know who he is, but I've never seen anything with him in it. Let's just put it that way. I was able to identify those 2. I was able to see that they had the Jack in the Box from fucking Demonic Toys, but it wasn't the cool looking puppet that was featured in the original Demonic Toys. It was the really cheap, really shitty looking puppet from Puppet of the Jack in the Box from Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. So gotta take away some points on that one. Then there is this little black tribal puppet. I don't know, or doll puppet something. I don't know where the fuck that thing is from. Probably if I do a little bit of digging, I might be able to find out, but you know what? At this point, I really just don't totally care. Let's just put it that way and move on. I found it kind of interesting that they were able to work in these, cameos, and I'd probably care a bit more if I'd seen Ginger Dead Man or Trancers before watching this thing, or whatever the fuck that black tribal thing was from. Again, I have no goddamn clue. So yeah, writing here is pretty good. Writing also was able to implement, well, writing is okay. It's passable. It was able to work in a handful of cameos in a rather clever way, because apparently all of them are also trapped in the Bong, or they were created by the Bong to, you know, fuck with the heads of everyone who goes in something. I'm not going to dwell on that too much. So, just in short, which is way too late because I've been wibbling on about it for a while, the writing is okay. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. Acting, well, the acting here is, you know, the acting here is okay. I mean, because everybody was just playing up a, you know, cliche. It was pretty easy to basically just slip into the character and just basically like roll with it. So nobody here was, you know, really, you know, asked to do much in terms of acting outside of, do you happen to know this fucking, you know, like character trope? Yeah, just play up that. You are that character. Do it. So basically, if you know how to be a surfer, you're good. If you know how to be a jock, you're good. A nerd, sure. You know, it really wasn't that much to ask, and everybody turned in a halfway decent showing. Tommy, and of course, well, you know, Tommy Chong, for all fucking 20 minutes that he is in the movie, is, again, he's just playing the same fucking thing. He's played in everything he's been in since the 70s. So, yeah, you know, he honestly is not going to set the world on fire, but at least we fucking know that he's good at what he does. So yeah, acting here is pretty good, but of course nobody was really asked to do much, so there is that. Effects. Well, I'm going to say this. I have already talked about I've already talked about the Jack-in-the-Box puppet being the incredibly cheap puppet from that bullshit crossover movie. So that one there is kind of a fail. Ginger Dead Man looked pretty good. That black puppet doll thing looked okay. But I want to talk about the Bong, because as you guys can see on the cover here, let's just cover the Evil Bong 2 thing for this. You can see that the Bong has a face, and the Bong talks, so you'd think maybe they'd try to puppeteer the mouth a little bit, so that way the mouth actually matches what's being said, but that never happens. Instead, it's basically just able to like wiggle its eyes, and its mouth is able to narrow, widen, open slowly, and close. Actually, it's able to widen and narrow slowly, as well as open and close slowly. So we have this character who is talking, but their fucking mouth is essentially stationary. Which, frankly, I was kind of expecting more from a movie which Charles, Band had a hand in. In fact, I believe he both wrote and directed. He just fucking directed it, and he also produced it, which means that he is the one who sunk money into this, and Charles Band can do better. I've seen him do better. In movies that were made long before 2006, I've seen him do better. So the very fact that he kind of sort of half-assed the Bong puppeteering is a little bit sad. Beyond that, everything else is pretty good. Like, everything else in terms of puppet effects, gore effects, really, really good. It's just that most of it's focused on that fucking Bong, and the Bong itself is just so, half-assed that it really does kind of take you out of the movie a little bit. Soundtrack. I do talk about soundtracks a lot when they are worth mentioning. This movie's got a fucking killer soundtrack. Almost all of it is like rap. There is maybe like a very small smattering of rock songs in there. I clearly heard stuff from Cottonmouth Kings, the ICP, and Twisted, and I'm a fan of all three of those acts. So yeah, guys, we have here music which is really good. I'm almost tempted to look for the soundtrack for this thing, just because most of this music was really fucking spot on. So yeah, otherwise, guys, camera work's good, the lighting is good, the sets looked a little bit cheap, but I honestly was not really expecting much But, you know, so yeah, guys, I mean, you know, like, the sets are passable, but they really aren't anything that's going to set the world on fire. Sound mix is okay, lighting is okay, camera work's good. If there's anything else I could really bitch about, it's like in the first 3/4 of the movie or so. Actually, not even. It's actually more like the first half. They basically insisted every single time that there would be a scene change, you would get this like 10-second animation of essentially like pot leaves and smoke and everything else. And it just felt to me as if it was padding out the movie. It's like, and they basically just gave up on it about, you know, like halfway through, and they just stopped using it. So you'd almost think that perhaps maybe if they would have cut it, the movie might have been at best like a minute shorter, and it would really have helped out in terms of pacing. But hey, guys, you know what though? As this movie stands, it's still okay. So I guess now the big question is fucking Evil Bong good? Not totally. Would I be able to recommend it? Kind of. Okay, here we go. If you can find Evil Bong here on Netflix or on Hulu or on YouTube, if somebody's somehow been able to upload this thing on to YouTube and YouTube hasn't pulled it fucking down yet, go right ahead and watch it. Download it. Or hell, guys, if you can find this fucking 2-pack here really cheap, go for it. Pick it up. Why not? Otherwise, rent it. Just, you know, if you guys are looking for something a little bit different, Evil Bong isn't bad, but it seriously is not the most memorable film in the world. I really have a feeling I'm probably going to have almost no fucking memory of it by the time I get around to filming the review for Evil Bong 2. Now, Evil Bong here came in off the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in is somebody who has been watching my stuff for a long time, and I've noticed his comments, and this I believe is the first thing of his I have covered. His YouTube channel, and I kind of had to write it down because I always write down the YouTube channels, is Invicta Studios. And dude, thank you, because well, I did put this on the Amazon wish list, and I did it out of pure curiosity because I wanted to know exactly what kind of movie you would get if you had a, you know, haunted Bong as your primary villain. Plus it came with the sequel, and well, I'll be doing that one a little later on this, you know, month. So yeah, guys, swing on over to his, you know, YouTube channel. I'm going to assume that it's a he, and please, dude, just tell me, you know, like, tell me if I'm wrong, and I'll probably do something to sort of show that I was wrong. You know, I'll probably throw up like a, you know, like annotation or something, I don't know. Anyway, swing on over there, check him out, and if you happen to like his stuff, sub. Once more, man, thank you. I'm going to provide a link to well, again, I'm going to assume it's a he, to his YouTube channel in this video's description, so that way you guys can just click on it and rock and roll. So, yeah, again, I was really expecting worse, and frankly, the very fact that this thing turned out even half good has got me a little bit shocked. So, yes, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.